Okay, so let's review the technical aspects of my Hyrox experience. Like I said, I'm going to be completely honest about, well, I mean, honestly, you can go online and check my stats. So there's no reason to lie about my time or anything. But I messed up a little bit. I said I finished in 2 hours and I actually finished in 2 hours and 4 minutes. So whatever. Okay, so I'm going to look at my computer too because I'll look at the times and kind of review I'm going to go over the running first because that is just in between everything and that's easier. And then I'll talk about each element and what my plans are going forward, how I'm training now, and plans for March because I'm competing again in March. So, running. Went into it, knew it was a weak point. And, I was thinking about it and it's so crazy because this is so wild to think about. Before I started training for this, I literally had not run over 1 mile and one mile. So I was like, you know what? I think that is definitely an accomplishment to go from hating running, not thinking I could ever do it, and then to be able to at least, first of all get through it, and then also I spent in my training, I did a 6 mile run on the treadmill. So that's like a special torture, I think that's if there were a prize, I think I might get a prize for that, but just kidding. But yeah, so I knew it was a weak point for me. I knew that was going to be a struggle just because first of all, there's so many elements to train for with this competition that trying to really condition yourself without really knowing what you're doing, or I knew what I was doing to a degree, but I mean not knowing what to expect out of it, because like I previously noted, there are some differences in that you just can't, it's hard to recreate unless you have the specifics, especially that carpet and stuff. So I know I need to work on running. So my plan for that is right now I'm not being super strict about it because my focus over the next few weeks, the month of December, is to really work on building up my strength, especially my upper body strength, because and I again knew that was a weak point just based on everything else, or based on the injury and stuff. So now I'm going really hard on trying to build muscle like I had for my legs. I feel like my legs are really strong. It's just my upper body that needs a lot of work. So my plan is I'm sprinkling in running, but my main cardio right now is rowing and the ski erg, because I signed up for Concept 2 has a challenge for the month of December. Well, it started in November, but month of December, that if you do 100,000 meters, then they'll donate 2 cents per meter. And if you do 200,000, they'll donate 4 cents per meter. So I know I'm going to finish 100,000. I'd like to just see if I can get closer to 200,000, just because why not? And that's great because I know that is helping build that aerobic base, which is a lot of what I need anyway. So that was kind of my plan. I mean, I'm still sprinkling in running, but I'm not being hard on myself if I don't necessarily feel like it, or I'm kind of easing back into doing longer runs and stuff like that. The plan for running, though, to make it a strong point, is I'm going to make myself sign up for a half marathon that will be in April, so a month after the Hyrox competition. And just to force, because I found for myself that setting these micro goals and having something to look forward to and make me it really forces me, because it's okay, well, I committed to that, so I have to get in whatever I'm doing. So that's why I kind of I also want the experience to see how it is training for something consecutively, because that's I don't know. I like the challenge, I guess. But anyway, so that's the plan. Half marathon in April, Hyrox in March. Okay, so now we'll dive into it. So ski erg, kind of knew that was hard for me. Let's see, my time was 5:42. I just need to get in more, not really much too. I also need to work on power. Like that's a big thing, is I kind of played back and forth, but that was like, it was a risk thing. I'm not like upset about it. I kind of knew that that was going to be tough. And also I just have a really hard time, like, I don't know, that is like so brutal to breathe and then like to run, do that, and then go back into running. For some reason, and it's the first thing, it's like, that's not my favorite. But I have a policy of, if I hate it, I'm gonna make myself love it. So that's the idea there. I did it today and I was just like, when am I gonna love this? It'll happen. Anyway, okay, sled push. Man, I killed the sled push. That was my best time. I think it was my best time. It doesn't tell me specifically, but I finished in 3 minutes and 52 seconds. That's where I'm like, see, my legs, they have it. I like threw my whole body into that. I'll try to like put a video with it so you can really see. Yeah, so sled push was good. I'm just gonna keep working on it. I'm doing the one in March. I'll be doing it with my husband. We're gonna do mixed doubles, so the weight will increase by like, I think 100 pounds, but I'm not worried about it because my legs are strong. Sled pull. Oh my gosh, I already talked about how that was so like that was a point. There were like 3 points during this that I was like, I might embarrassingly cry. I don't know if I already said that, but it almost happened. And that was one of them. But it took me 8 minutes and 40 seconds. And again, that's another area where that increases by like 100 pounds. So most likely, I mean, I think we will share the load. We haven't nailed down how we're going to train together, mostly because we don't train at the same time as far as like working out, but like, I don't know, he will probably take on more of that just because his upper body strength is better than mine or stronger than mine, but I still want to train it because I want to get better. Anyway, moving on. So we got the 80-meter burpee broad jump. That was next. I finished in 10 minutes and 14 seconds. I think that was my worst thing. I was a little surprised at that one. I knew it was going to be hard, and that's like another place. I mean, again, I say that it was my wrists and it's an excuse, but it's kind of a valid one because it's just the true fact of, I probably in hindsight, even though that was something I couldn't train until really close to the competition, I should have at least made myself do like a lot of squat jumps, a lot of something I mean, I did some, but I definitely did not do enough and I underestimated that. And I'm kind of bummed because I watched a lot of videos beforehand and that was an area that people were like, yeah, I didn't train it enough and I should have. And it's kind of annoying that I also fell into that bracket. Okay, so then moving on to the row, 1,000-meter row. I finished that in 5 minutes and 48 seconds. That was a little surprising too because that is one of my strong points. But I think just by getting to that point, I was like already so defeated and tired that I was just like, I just need to rest here. And I think that that's another element that I need to actually train it, is where to rest. I've watched a lot of videos where people, not on this, but in other types of racing, and they're like, train your rest. If you're gonna, like if you're on the sideline, you need to train your rest. You shouldn't be just sitting there. And I think that that's something that like in hindsight, looking back, I did, I did run throughs and I finished in 2 hours, but it was, I didn't specifically train what I was going to do. So that's a big thought for me now. Then so then the next part was the 200-meter farmer carry. Again, I mean, all this stuff, like a lot of it is like, I knew that it was going to be hard. I was trying to work my way up to, like, my philosophy for anything is to overtrain. And so my intention was to hopefully work up to carrying more. But I think that, I mean, it's just building up like grip strength, the kettlebells were different, which like it didn't make a difference, but it did, just because like I already had such a struggle with my grip strength and with my wrists. Like what would happen when I was training for it is they would literally feel like they were giving out, and I would have to like I was about to drop the kettlebells, and or I would literally drop them. So that's kind of what happened in the race. I did have to set them down quite a bit, a lot more than I thought I would have to. But I mean, it followed the burpees, so you know, it is what it is. Most of this stuff, I'm kind of like, okay, the approach is that I just need to triple the weight and triple the distance. So a lot of what I am going to start working on for farmer carries is like isometric holds. So I'll time myself for, depending on the weight that I'm doing, between 30 seconds and a minute. So if I'm doing heavier, then I just kind of gauge like, let me set my timer for 45 seconds and see if I'm able to hold it. And if so, then I'll up it to a minute. So that's kind of my approach towards that. And then just, you know, time and strength. Like, I think that I'll definitely get there for March. Oh, my computer just decided to turn off. Okay, cool. There we are. So then the next thing, we got 100-meter sandbag lunges. I also thought this was going to be strong. This is an area that I have to say, like, I understand everything, and I'm not like been out of shape over it, but I did lunges. Like, I do lunges so much that I'm like, what? It took me 8 minutes and 6 seconds. What a bummer. But it's like, what is that? The 7th element. So I was tired. I'm not going to make excuses. That's an excuse, but retraction. No excuses. Do better next time. Okay, moving on. Now, oh yeah, plan for that one. Quadruple the weight. So yeah, I was doing a lot of weight too. I'm so bummed. Whatever. Okay, wall balls. This was, you know what? I'm impressed with my time for this one, because I just like, I finished it in 4 minutes and 59 seconds, and like it was 75 wall balls, and that's the last thing. And I was like, I went, because you go through a tunnel. I was so delusional by this point too. Like, I was so delusional. But you go through a tunnel, and then you get to the wall balls, and like, I like would go down and rest in like, well, I don't know, it's like a yoga squat. I don't even know. But and one of the judges came over and was like I was halfway through, and he's like, you need to squat lower. I'm like, I thought he was coming over to tell me like, you're doing a good job, just like keep at it. Because I literally was about to cry. I'm like, this dude, man. And then I watched the video my husband took. I'm going to show you. The girl next to me, she was like not, so the like standard is, whatever, this is again, take all these excuses with a grain of salt. They mean nothing. I'm going to do better. The standard is that you have to squat below 90 degrees for, you know, whenever you go down, throw it up. And the girl next to me, like, literally wasn't even making it to 90 degrees. So I was pissed. Like, I'm like, bro, can't you see I'm, like, about to, like, have a mental breakdown in this space? Whatever. He didn't care. He said, he's like, I know you can do better. Not really. He didn't say that, but I'm like, that's how I took it. So, you know, I just need to live up to it. Then everybody talked about this again. Like, I nerded out. I watched so many videos, and everybody was like, watch your time in the rock zone. That's the time. That's like what they call the area that like all the things are, all the stations are in. And I wasted 10 minutes and 13 seconds in there. So what that means is, like, instead of running to each station, I would start walking, or I would stop and get water. Okay, that's another note. Like, I had all this stuff that I was like, I had watched one guy talk about how he wore a hydration vest. He was like, nobody else is doing it, but I'm so glad I did it. And I got one, and I was so planning on doing it. And at the last minute, I decided, I'm going to look like ridiculous. I don't want to do that. I'm so mad at myself for not taking that, because like, I don't know if this is everyone or just me, but I feel like I just constantly need just like a little sip, you know? And I feel like my mouth gets really dry and I drink a lot of water, and I also don't drink alcohol. So like, or anything else. It's not even just alcohol. Like, the only other thing I drink is sparkling water and regular water. That's it. So I don't understand why that happens, but that's just how I am. So that next time I will definitely wear my hydration vest. The other thing, and this is so silly, but I had gotten like sweat wristbands to wear, not for sweat, because like my nose tends to run during all this stuff and when I'm working out, and like I didn't have any way to like wipe. I just was like wiping it on my gloves. Ugh, so gross. I was like doing the rower and like my nose was running so bad. It's disgusting. So yeah, this is like a note of I shouldn't have cared about, like, nobody's even paying attention to me. Like, who cares? So I should have just done what I wanted to. So I'm going to wear that. The other thing was so crazy. I had seen all these videos where people were talking about how it was so hot in there and they were just like sweating being in there and all this stuff. I was freezing my booty off. Like, I could not get warm to save my life. I think the only time that I sweat at all, like I sweat a little bit, but like when it's colder outside, I tend to it takes a lot to make me sweat. Now it's hot. That's a totally different story. So spring, I might just be pouring, but it's like they always have them in a convention center. So it's so freezing in there. And so I work out in a sports bra and shorts or leggings or whatever. So that's just what I'm used to wearing, and that's what I wore. And I don't think I'll do that next time. Like, I'd rather just be like profusely sweating through all my clothes than be cold, because that was the other issue was really early on I started cramping up in like my abs, like when I was running, and I know it was because I was just so cold and I could not get warm. So that's another note to self, and also an alternate view, because like I said, everybody that I had watched and read about, they were just talking about how it's like so hot in there. And maybe it's just me. I don't know, but that's what happened. So it says my best run lap was 5 minutes and 24 seconds, but okay, that's that. So plan. Okay, this is long. Sorry, but whatever. If you're hit this far, thank you for staying around. So my plan going forward, half marathon, and then I'm doing blocks. So I already discussed what I'm doing for December, and then starting in January, I'll talk more about it because I haven't made my plan for it, but I definitely am going to train a little bit differently. I took the specificity training a little too literal and too seriously, and I felt like a truck hit me every single day in my training. So I'm going to adjust a little bit to keep a lot of the strength elements that I love doing and already do. And then I'll probably do a split of like 3 days like that with running or whatever. And then 3 days of like Hyrox specific elements. And then I will keep doing, I'm really happy that I did a run through. My husband's really similar to me as far as like his personality and everything, and like how he trains. I mean, honestly, I learned a lot from him, but just like how he trains for stuff and his mentality of like overtraining and everything. So I know that we'll do a couple run throughs as we progress, but that'll be fun. And maybe I'll even rope him into talking on a video with me, because I'm sure he would love that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and maybe this gives some insight of a newbie perspective on. Oh, the other thing I would note is if you are new to this and new to competition, give yourself, I would literally give yourself a range of like 30 minutes of margin of error or margin of time like that you're expecting. So I went in wanting an hour and a half, wanted to finish an hour and a half, finished in 2 hours. So, just, I mean, really, it was a great experience. Like, I know I'm being hard on myself about a lot of this stuff, but I'm just so grateful that I was able to do it um, and get through it and enjoy it. And, well, I didn't enjoy it while I was doing it, but, fake it till you make it. All right.